Hello everybody, welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are taking a look at SynthMaster 3 and how you can make your own custom wavetables from literally any sound you like. It doesn't matter, it can be whatever you want. You can import your own samples, you can use existing wavetables, you can use just ordinary oscillators. I'll show you a couple of different methods what work really well. Okay, so I have this initialized preset here, which is just this sawtooth wave. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit on that. I'm going to increase the voice mix to 3. I'm going to go into voices and do some detuning spread. And add a little bit of analog drift. Turn the volume down again. That's the mix, sorry. Now, say for example, I just wanted to edit this waveform. If I click the little pencil icon now, I can go and literally just draw in new points and change the sound up. So this is our waveform editor. Okay, so let's do a bit of that. So now I'm literally just drawing in a new waveform, but I could actually go into freehand and so let's leave it at that because that's quite interesting. And that's a waveform edit. Okay, so let's close this back. So there's our new custom waveform, which we can then save. However, what I'm going to do now is click on this little gear icon here. And I'm going to replace this with a wavetable oscillator. Now, it's not going to change any of the settings. It's literally just going to change into a wavetable. Now, this is going to sound, if I run through the index here, nothing's going to change there because we were just editing a single waveform, right? Nothing was going on with it. But now we've got a bit more of an interesting sound we've edited. Now we can click on this again, and this is going to take us to our wavetable editor because we've converted that oscillator into a wavetable oscillator. And this is where the fun really starts, right? This is where we can do incredibly cool stuff. First of all, let's look at this. You can save your custom wavetable and use it wherever you like. You can undo, redo, you can normalize it, and you can offset, you can like set 0 DC offsets, right? So we don't need to do any of that. Frames. We have 16 frames at the moment we can play with. So these are our... Nothing's going to change, but I'm just indexing through with my mouse the different frames. Okay, we can have as pretty much unlimited number, well, not an unlimited number, but we can have a lot of frames. So I could say, well, let's have 200 frames. Okay, and now you'll see that we've got very, very fine control where we can add extra frame points and stuff like that. Let's be a bit more sensible and set this back to something like 16. That's fine. Okay, so here's where we can start to make cool adjustments, right? So let's go to our master filter and switch it on. Click on this. Let's go to the end here. So the very last frame, because we've only got 2 frame points, right? 1, 2, 1 at the end. And let's set this to freehand and draw in a bit of a alteration to the filter. Like there. Okay. It changes. Let's make it a bit more obvious. Here as well. Right. We've just adjusted the last frame of our 16 frames. We've only got 2. We've just adjusted the last frame to this. If we go back to our first frame now, double click on it, you'll see that it's not affected at all. So now when I index through, in fact, what I'm going to do is to make this easier for me and for you. I'm going to assign the mod wheel to the index. So I'm just going to pick up the modulation wheel here and drop it on the index. So now let's go back to our edit page. So now I can use the mod wheel to index through this new wavetable. Okay. So now we've got this. If I move this along, right, like this. It's exactly the same result as moving my mod wheel. Okay, so the adjustments we've made there, so we can run our index through with our mod wheel, of course, and you can hear the changes. Now, of course, what's cool now is we have different effects we can add as well. So apart from our master filter and our wave source, now, like I said, the wave source ain't going to make a great deal of difference from whatever point we're on, because the wave is dead basic. But if it was a complex wave or a sample or something, you'd notice that. So applying these effects makes a massive difference. You can see that we've got no filtering there. And when we get to the end now, we've done this. But we could add at this point here, at this frame, we could add another filter point. And I'll stay in freehand and maybe draw just some slight changes in. Like this, you'll notice it, but this time we'll adjust the key track because that makes a big difference to the sound. We'll just adjust it a little bit and maybe push the even odd mix up that way. So that's this sound now. We're on this keyframe. So go back to this keyframe, go to the end keyframe. Okay, it's not a million miles different from, well, it is actually. So now if I use my index, let me make sure I set my index point in the editor back to the beginning, and I use the mod wheel and now scroll through. We've got this very cool it almost goes into vocal, and we've got no effects on here or anything like that. This is just absolutely the raw sound. If we add a new effect now, we've got spectral filter. Now you'll see it appears there. Make sure your effects are turned on, by the way, otherwise you won't hear the effect. In fact, to just always kind of just solo the original waveform, you can just turn your effects off. But now we'll look at spectral filter. Here's our spectral filter. Let's do a bit of a, we can add points in, and don't forget we're only working with 16 frames here. Let's do this, bit of that. And let's do formant shift. Takes a couple of seconds to update. Let's do a peak shift here. This will just boost the volume basically because you're just adjusting the peaks here. In fact, let's drag that one down a little bit as well, actually. Maybe do. Okay, so that's for this one. And if we go to our end one, you'll see we can make further adjustments. This time we'll just do a formant shift down, a peak shift up a little bit and reduce that. And this is this end one. And don't forget, it's all blended in with our master filter as well. So if I reset my index point now, you'll see, look at this at the top. This is what we're doing to this wave as we scroll through. And if I use my mod wheel, and we've got more effects as well. We have a wave shape and a modulator, a shifter, a blender. We've got lo-fi, which adds kind of, let's go to our lo-fi. Don't forget to tap on the frame point you want to see what you want to do. This time we can have, it's like kind of like bit crushing. So let's switch the filter and the spectral filter off and listen, just listen to the lo-fi. Let's adjust the X grid. This is like bit reduction and sample reduction. There we go, you see. Let's do that. Let's turn our, in fact, let's put another couple of points in for our lo-fi here. Let's put one in here, one in here. I'll put one there, sorry. One here as well. There we go. And I can make a few more adjustments, so I could go, oh, let's do this. Just, I mean, the cool thing is just have a mess about, you know. Let's move this, actually. Let's put it, let's put it there. Okay, and let's turn our other effects back on. And now we've so let's turn that lo-fi off a sec. So I've made some adjustments here to the lo-fi that I maybe don't want. I'm going to turn the mix down a little bit and the attack down. And on we go. Adding all these cool effects that you can play around with. And that, guys, is basically it. That's how you can, I'll just draw some freehand pitch shifting in. Let it update for a sec. I'm going to turn that lo-fi off because in fact, let's just delete that effect. If we look at our shifter, what we got here, let's use excellent. Let's turn it down a little bit. And we can, of course, control the mix if it's always a little bit harsh. So let's see. Let's try a different algorithm. When you're hitting it change, it's me moving through the index with my mod wheel. But of course, like I said, you can add as many keyframe points as you like. You know, you just select what you want to work with, and you'll always get the start one and the end one, so it'll blend smoothly from first keyframe to the last keyframe. But then you can add others in as well for any point you like and any number you like. You're really not gonna run out of keyframes, if you know what I mean. So say, for instance, we're happy with this. That's quite a nice sound. Suitably wavetable-ish from our basic waveform. Okay, so look, we can go, where are we doing now? So let's see, save. And we can export it as a wave file, and we can choose the integer there. Let's save the wavetable, and I'll call this TSTR, and I'll just call it WT2. So WT2, and that's done. So TSTR to WT2, save. And that's now saved as a custom wavetable. And if we close this and go back to the synth, there it is. But you can use anything you like. If I quickly just reset this initial, got a sawtooth there. Let's go down to a, well, we can use a multi-sample. Let's just choose one. Let's see. Okay, let's pick that. Let's load that in and close it. So now, here we go. Okay, let's convert this oscillator, replace with a wavetable oscillator. That's that vocal sound before we've messed with it. Let's give it a little bit of a boost in volume. And if we go and edit that, now if I run the index now, we're running through that wavetable, but then we can just go in and edit it. Here's my index. And then you carry on as you were before. You just add points in, make adjustments, have a mess around, and it's a done deal. And maybe we could say, let's just open that up again. Maybe we could go, right, well, it's a custom wavetable. I'm going to load user, and you'll see my two of there. I'm going to put my vocally format one back in. There it is. Go to my effects. I could put an LFO on here actually to run the index. So instead of just attaching it to the mod wheel, we could go, well, oh, okay, what's add new LFO? I'll just attach this to the index. Slow it down. I'm going to set this to global so it doesn't reset. Put some... And there you go. That's how you make your custom wavetables. It's absolutely brilliant when you think about it, because, you know, making wavetables is great because you can use them in any synth that will take a wavetable you like. You can just export them. And of course you can import wavetables as well, or samples or multi-samples. Brilliant stuff. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, please strike the like, subscribe to the channel. Please consider becoming a Patreon. And I will see you guys later. Epic.